We begin the record with breaking developments in the race for president. This is one for the record books. With 107 days until the general election, President Joe Biden announces he will not seek re-election. In this open letter, Biden writes, "It has been the honor of my life, the greatest honor," he says, "to serve as your president. While it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and focus on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term." Welcome to the record. I'm Mark Maxwell. Democrats walk into their convention 29 days from now without a nominee for president. Republicans just locked theirs in. President Biden is officially endorsing his vice president, Kamala Harris, but she will have to win enough delegates to secure that nomination. It is now officially an open nominating contest. We caught up with delegates and elected officials at the Republican National Convention before they knew this would become the outcome, but many were already predicting it, some taking joy in all the uncertainty surrounding Biden's candidacy and prodding their political rivals to toss Joe Biden and see what comes next.
We're about uniting. Democrats are about dividing. We know who our nominee is. We're not in question. Here in a couple weeks, I'm not sure they know who theirs is going to be. We know who our nominee is. We now know who our vice president is. And we're united.
Trust me, as a Republican, I would just sit back and eat popcorn if they opened that convention up. That would be phenomenal entertainment, and I would encourage them to do so. Go ahead, Democrats. Open up your process. Let those delegates become unbound. Let the media go ask them who they're going to vote for. Give them their 15 minutes in the sunshine, and I doubt this process is going to be an early one that gets fixed.
That was former Republican Congressman Rodney Davis and current Republican Congressman Mike Bost, both from Illinois. Joining me now to talk about this historic moment in presidential politics is Russ Carnahan, chair of the Democratic Party, Kevin O'Malley, President Obama's former ambassador to Ireland and close friend of Mr. Biden, and expert political scientist and professor at UMSL, Anita Mannion, our political analyst here at 5 on Your Side. Mr. O'Malley, you've been a close friend of President Biden. You've been on him with recent trips, and you defended his stamina at the time. You saw his debate performance last month. Did you see a decline there, and how hard was this decision for Mr. Biden?
So I think this is a very difficult decision for the president. I think that he took into consideration the advice he had from his advisors, but mostly he is a decent, caring, experienced patriot who put the country ahead of his own personal desires. He accomplished more in his first term than many presidents will accomplish in multiple terms, and he wanted to do more, but he understood that the obstacles were mounting, and so I think he'll go down as a hero.
And not since spring of 1968 have we seen a president, an incumbent president, do this in Lyndon Johnson there. Mr. Carnahan, I want to ask you, will the Democratic Party of Missouri formally endorse the vice president and her nomination, or will you instruct delegates to listen and nominate and vote for whomever they choose?
I think our delegation will follow the process as set out by our national party. These delegates, again, have been part of the successful Obama-Biden-Harris coalition. Millions of people voted for the Biden-Harris ticket 4 years ago. 14 million voted nationally in the primaries for this ticket. And I think we're going to see this really coalesce behind Vice President Harris in this process. But I think there's going to be a conversation, and Democrats, I think, have been and should be strategic about this, but certainly the leadership of President Biden, we've got to acknowledge that because he's the one that has really set this process in motion.
And had he waited until after the nominating convention, then Vice President Harris would have been really locked in, but now it becomes this truly open convention. Anita, just how hard is it for Vice President Harris or for any other of these Democratic ambitious politicians? How hard would it be for them to actually run a nationwide campaign in about 107 days?
It would be something we've never seen before. Harris has the easiest path because she has been part of the Biden campaign. She was on the primary ballot. She is now, they're transitioning the funds to her. She's on the funds. And she has the infrastructure of running a national campaign and can easily take over a lot of the infrastructure that Biden had in.
Mr. Carnahan, I'm sure your phone is blowing up in this immediate run-up in the aftermath of all this news. Which other Democratic candidates on the bench come to mind as capable potential nominees?
Well, that's a great and fun conversation. You're talking about vice presidential picks, I presume.
You're leaning towards Kamala Harris for the nominee.
I think that's the direction this is going to go. And I think there's some fantastic Democratic governors that are on a great bench in this country. They have great records of success that could step up and fill those positions.
Such as?
I mean, I think a short list, certainly Governor Shapiro in Pennsylvania, key swing state. I'm particularly like Kentucky Governor Beshears, who's our neighbor and has been successful winning in a state Trump carried by 30 points. And there's others, Gretchen Whitmer, again, a number of successful governors that could really add to a national ticket.
We're talking a lot of politics, but there's also policy here. And I want to ask you, Mr. O'Malley, some Republicans like Senator Josh Hawley are saying that if President Biden cannot mount a successful campaign for president, that he's not fit for the duties of the job. I get there's politics there, and the political instinct for Democrats would be to defend your guy in a moment like this. But I wonder what
well,
you think.
I wouldn't have to defend him. I think his record would defend him. He accomplished more in the understanding that the House of Representatives, which the Republicans took how many votes to come up with a leader. So these guys criticizing the process that we're going to go through is a little bit strange and kind of rich.
My question, though, is what foreign leaders might be thinking about our country in this fraught moment? Do you have any concerns that bad actors might use this period to sow instability?
No, I think that most foreign leaders that I dealt with as an ambassador understand that we are the beacon of democracy, that we'll do this in a way that we will be proud of, and will eliminate they're scared to death of President Trump coming back. They just are. And because for a number of reasons, but mostly he's so unpredictable and so rash.
Well, many thanks to our panel for joining us in such short notice. When we come back, we take you to Milwaukee for a recap of the Republican National Convention.
Tomorrow isn't built by dreamers. It's built by doers. Because progress doesn't work unless we do. So at Ameren, we've been hard at work putting energy to work for you. Adding underground cables, installing advanced switches and sensors, storm hardening poles and power lines, making the energy grid stronger today so it can meet your needs tomorrow. Learn about projects in your area at ameren.com/reliability.
What does it take to be a winning lineup? Power, speed, and performance. Yeah, Cards fans know a little something about that. Get 1-9 financing for 66 plus 2,500 bonus cash on Edge, or 1-9 financing for 66 plus 2,075 bonus cash on Escape. Only at your Quality Ford dealers.
Just go. TP. Lowercase b. Oh. Use a strong password.
Trying to remember a strong password is hard. Hiring Morgan & Morgan for your injury is easy.
Too many attempts.
Morgan & Morgan. The choice is easy.
I'm Mike Hamra, and I'm running for governor. I was born and raised in Southwest Missouri, where my family restaurant business was born. But I've always said that for our business to do well, our employees must do well too.
That's how Mike's different.
Mike gives tuition assistance to help pay for college.
Rewards student workers for good grades.
He even helps employees buy their first homes.
Now Mike's running for governor.
He'll fight to restore abortion rights.
And he'll work to lower the cost of prescription drugs.
I'm Mike Hamra, and I'll be a different kind of governor for you.
Irresistible from every angle. The first ever Buick Envista. Buick. Exceptional by design.
We join you now with continuing coverage of the Republican National Convention with the record on the road in Milwaukee. This arena played host to a week unlike any other we've ever seen unfold in American politics. It was just 8 days ago Donald Trump escaped death when an assassin's bullet whizzed within an inch of his head, bloodying his ear. That fist pump that followed, instantly becoming an iconic image and indelible hallmark of this convention itself. It symbolized Trump's knack for defying the odds, and in a party whose base increasingly includes evangelical Christians, That near-death encounter served as something of a sign of divine providence.
Quite frankly, I'm still in shock over it. I still get the chills. It was it was a very dangerous moment for our country. I personally believe in divine intervention, and if President Trump hadn't slightly moved his head, we'd be in a very, very different position tonight.
It was God protecting him, absolutely. I mean, God was definitely protecting our president.
I think it was an act of God, and I think it saved our country from being torn asunder.
That horrific halo of what could have been hung over the early days of the convention. Significant security surrounded the perimeter on the outer edge. But then Donald Trump found his apprentice, the Manhattan multimillionaire, forging an alliance with a Midwest messenger. Author turned Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, accepting the nomination to run for vice president Wednesday night, and turned his ire toward capitalists who saw higher profit margins with cheaper labor overseas.
When I was in the 4th grade, a career politician by the name of Joe Biden supported NAFTA, a bad trade deal that sent countless good jobs to Mexico. When I was a sophomore in high school, that same career politician named Joe Biden gave China a sweetheart trade deal that destroyed even more good American middle-class manufacturing jobs. Now, thanks to these policies that Biden and other out-of-touch politicians in Washington gave us, our country was flooded with cheap Chinese goods, with cheap foreign labor, and in the decades to come, deadly Chinese fentanyl. Joe Biden screwed up, and my community paid the price.
Immediately, Republicans saw in Vance a voice whose personal biography connects with the pain of that American carnage Donald Trump famously described in his inaugural address.
He speaks to everyday common man. He speaks to the Midwest voters.
We think about the Midwestern states that we have to win, that President Trump has to win. Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Ohio. J.D. Vance will play very well there.
You know, Wisconsin is the largest state in terms of manufacturing per capita, so they want somebody who, you know, will protect and support jobs in America, which is jobs, manufacturing jobs in Wisconsin.
We're here with host and moderator of Meet the Press, Kristen Welker. Great to see you here in Wisconsin. Just how critical is this state in flipping the map on that path to 270 for Republicans?
Well, Mark, it's great to be with you. Wisconsin is going to be a critical battleground state in 2024. That's why the Republicans are holding their national convention here. Donald Trump, obviously, as you know, won this state back in 2016. President Biden won it back in 2020 by 20,000 votes. So Donald Trump is determined to win it back. This is what the Democrats, part of their blue wall. And so if President Biden cannot hold on to a state like Wisconsin, that would spell, I think, a really problematic run for him. Look, issues from the economy to abortion and, of course, what's happening in the Middle East, I think, are at the forefront in Wisconsin and in other states throughout the Midwest. And that is part of why I think you guys are going to be very busy from now until Election Day, because the Republican National Convention is here now, but both of the candidates are going to be back a lot.
Yeah, it's been a while since Missouri or Illinois was a swing state, but I wonder your evaluation of this pick, J.D. Vance. How sharp of a departure is it from the current Republican ideology? What are you hearing from the way Republicans have thought about economics, populism, and now Vance coming in with Trump?
Senator J.D. Vance represents the future of the MAGA movement. So in some ways, Trump is doubling down on his MAGA ideology and saying that I want to grow this party for the future. And he's really made the pick, you could argue, from a position of strength as someone who does have a narrow lead in the polls nationally and in key battleground states, because J.D. Vance doesn't help him electorally in the same way that a Senator Marco Rubio, for example, would have. Now, the counterpoint is those who've been pushing for J.D. Vance, his supporters like Don Jr., say, look, he does help electorally. He's going to help with states like Wisconsin. He'll help drive out those critical Trump voters who live in the exurbs. And he also helps with fundraising, they would say. But again, 39 years old. He's been in the Senate for 2 years. Of course, he's the author of Hillbilly Elegy, former Trump critic turned one of his fiercest defenders. This is a pick about building out the future of the party.
And then my last question for you. On Monday night, that remarkable moment with Sean O'Brien from the Teamsters on stage. Presidents have always courted labor up until Reagan. Republicans had done it, Democrats had done it, and then there was that kind of shift. Republicans are clearly making a play to appeal to them. How well is it working?
Well, it is significant that we saw Sean O'Brien address the Republican National Convention, a sign that Donald Trump is trying to expand the tent to reach out to labor unions, to working class voters, quite frankly. I had an opportunity to interview Senator Bernie Sanders, who said his advice to President Biden is he's got to sharpen his message to working class voters on the economy, on how he's going to better impact their lives. And I think that's part of what you are seeing play out here.
Kristen Welker, a Pros Pro, working right through the mic check. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Mark. Great conversation.
Still to come, we wind back the clock 3 decades to check the record about the most powerful, lasting ingredient in American politics.
This abortion pill is illegal in Missouri.
Cori Bush wrote the literal bill to protect abortion access.
Cori Bush is a solid Democrat. Votes with Joe Biden over 90%.
Her opponent, Wesley Bell,
managed an anti-choice Republicans campaign.
That's why Cori is the only candidate endorsed by Planned Parenthood and nurses.
If you care about abortion rights, vote Cori Bush, the actual Democrat. Just as Democrats are responsible for the content of this ad.
There are trucks, and then there's the GMC Sierra, available with the connected driving experience and the world's first 6-function multi-pro tailgate. GMC Sierra. It's the truck. Or get $3,500 purchase cash on select GMC Sierra models. Plus, get $2,500 purchase allowance when you trade in an eligible vehicle. We are professional grade GMC.
Doing the post-ride ouchie dance every time you sit on your bike saddle? Yep, we've been there. Switch to V-Seat and sit like royalty. Whether you're a city commuter, a mountain trail adventurer, or a spin class enthusiast, the V-Seat is here to improve your riding experience. It's not just a seat, it's your key to healthier, more enjoyable rides.
The V-Seat has really helped take the pressure away from my groin area.
I can finally ride my bike without being in pain.
Ready to upgrade your ride? Click now and order your V-Seat. Comfort is just a click away.
My new favorite Olympian introduces you to the most inspiring Olympians and the causes they champion. Get to know the stars before they shine in the City of Light. Available everywhere you listen to podcasts. Brought to you locally on NBC by Nissan.
Driving the Nissan Rogue with Google built in is like...
Hey Google, turn on Rocky's Food.
The ultimate connection. Drive the award-winning Nissan Rogue today.
It's 5 at the Fox. You could win a pair of tickets to Hamilton, a revolutionary story of passion, unstoppable ambition, and the dawn of a new nation. Register at kstk.com and winners will be announced weekly on Today in St. Louis. Register by August 1st.
Create your perfect room for entertaining, relaxing, and more with patio enclosures. Right now, get 20% off your sunroom. Plus, enjoy exceptional financing. Call today.
Patio enclosures.
Donald Trump finalized his wholesale takeover of the Republican Party at this 2024 Republican National Convention on the final night, Thursday night. If there was ever any doubt, this week made it final. The party of Lincoln and the party of Reagan is now firmly the party of Donald Trump. The former president, who has often praised authoritarian strongmen in other countries, approached the stage here after warm-up acts from the CEO of UFC, Dana White, and the iconic pro wrestling celebrity Hulk Hogan. The optics couldn't be more clear. The reality TV star who dabbled in WWE-style entertainment himself, the candidate who showed his commitment to showmanship and ultimate stage presence under pressure in Pennsylvania last weekend, the brash politician who waged grievance campaigns against Congress, the courts, corporations, and celebrities alike, and who hammered every living Republican presidential nominee before him, took this stage and took this room into a new era of Republican Party politics made in his image.
I raised my right arm, looked at the thousands and thousands of people that were breathlessly waiting, and started shouting, "Fight, fight, fight." Despite such a heinous attack, we unite this evening more determined than ever. I am more determined than ever, and so are you. So is everybody on your side. And we must not criminalize dissent or demonize political disagreement, which is what's been happening in our country lately at a level that nobody has ever seen before. In that spirit, the Democrat Party should immediately stop weaponizing the justice system and labeling their political opponent as an enemy of democracy. Especially since that is not true. In fact, I am the one saving democracy for the people of our country. And our planet is teetering on the edge of World War III. And this will be a war like no other war because of weaponry. The weapons are no longer army tanks going back and forth shooting at each other. These weapons are obliteration. We've suffered the worst inflation we've ever had. Inflation has wiped out the life savings of our citizens and forced the middle class into a state of depression. Under my plan, incomes will skyrocket, inflation will vanish completely, jobs will come roaring back, and the middle class will prosper like never, ever before, and we're going to do it very rapidly. The election result, we're never going to let that happen again. They used COVID to cheat. We're never going to let it happen again. Viktor Orban, Prime Minister of Hungary, very tough man. I got along very well. North Korea, Kim Jong-un, I got along very well. When we get back, I get along with him. He'd like to see me back, too. I think he misses me, if you want to know the truth.
We check the record when we come back.
What do we really know about Will Scharf? Follow the money. Scharf's taken millions of campaign cash from East Coast liberals and almost none from Missourians. No surprise, Will Scharf was raised by Wall Street millionaires in liberal New York City. Maybe that explains why Scharf decided to work for Biden's corrupt Department of Justice, cutting plea deals and giving weaker sentences to dangerous criminals. New York City liberal Will Scharf is weak on crime.
Ready, set, first state championship in 20 years. Interview with the CEO and no umbrella. Fuel for your road trip. Rental that does not look like the pictures.
Yeah, no.
Harmony. For once. There's go in everything you do. That's why Conoco is there to fuel all the ways you go, go, go.
Title Max got your money, your real money.
Get started at TitleMax.com and turn your title into real money. You can apply, appraise, and get quick approval before visiting a store.
I got $2,500 with TitleMax.com.
Apply anytime, anywhere, right from your phone. Now that's convenient. Visit TitleMax.com today to find out how much you can get. Don't delay. Help us one click away. Get your title back with TitleMax.
Get your title back with TitleMax.
I got it.
I got it.
The airport is in 4 miles. Interesting choice.
You're going on fit?
Discover performance in rare form.
You got it, but she's delayed.
Get offers on select F-Sport models at the Lexus Golden Opportunity sales event.
Get special offers on select Lexus RX models.
Are you having trouble hearing your TV or listening to conversations in loud spaces? Then it might be time to consider Nano hearing aids. Don't mistake Nanos for cheap amplifiers. Nanos are FDA-registered OTC hearing aids, which means no more having to go to a doctor and spend thousands. Nano hearing aids are now offering $100 off through this special TV offer. Order right now and get 2 CIC rechargeable hearing aids for only $297. And if you're not happy, return them for a full refund.
Plans changed before this convention kicked off. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker was scheduled to be here Monday night, the first night, as a surrogate for Joe Biden's campaign to punch back at the Donald Trump style of politics in the Republican Party. All those plans were scuttled and set aside after that assassination attempt against former President Trump's life. But in his defense of Joe Biden, Pritzker has often described Biden's superpower as empathy. So let's check the record. Back in 1992, an incumbent president took to the debate stage in a national campaign for president, and a voter asked him if the national debt and all the economic struggles had affected him personally. George Bush zoomed out instead and tried to explain it away as some big macroeconomic policy or something that impacted everyone generally. But he glossed over and missed that chance on how it might have impacted him or his family personally. That's when Bill Clinton, then just the governor of Arkansas, stepped in and gave that answer, later summed up as, "I feel your pain," or in another word, empathy. Another candidate taking the stage here this week wrote a whole book about it. The working class American whose small town was hollowed out after global free trade agreements and the substance abuse that would follow.
Things did not work out well for a lot of kids I grew up with. Every now and then, I will get a call from a relative back home who asks, "Did you know so-and-so?" And I'll remember a face from years ago, and then I'll hear they died of an overdose. As always, America's ruling class wrote the checks. Communities like mine paid the price.
In some sense, J.D. Vance's rhetoric combined that powerful political ingredient of empathy and fused it together with the emotion of anger and outrage. We found his target voter, not here in the convention hall, not even inside the security perimeter, but just beyond, outside, from advocates who traveled here from all across the country to show their own personal experiences with grief and loss.
I lost my son. So I lost my son in August of 2014. I'm coming up on 10-year anniversary of losing him. And in the 10 years that I've lost him, all we've improved nationally, when I lost him, 1 in 10 Americans could get treatment when they sought it. Right now, only 1.66 in 10 Americans can get treatment when they seek it. So we've barely made an improvement in 10 years.
I have 2 daughters with substance use disorder, and it's been a nightmare. It's been going on for over 10 years. I just have one that just got out of prison, and I have one that's in long-term treatment, and it doesn't seem like it's getting any better. People are not hearing us. The problems are continually to go on. There's no consistency.
I think that people are curious by us painting tombstones, wondering what's going on, and I think once people realize that most of us who are here directly impacted, they have empathy and they have compassion.
Those same advocates tell me they'll travel to the Democratic National Convention and share their message there as well. After all, opioid abuse and the overdoses that come with it know no political partisan affiliation. It's easy to forget, amid all these bright lights and cartoonish costumes, that back home, Americans are hurting, not only with inflation and the cost of goods, but with real loss and hardship. The party that can credibly speak to that pain most effectively between now and November stands to gain the power to do something about it. That's all the time we have for now. Thanks for joining us. Don't miss the Republican primary debate in the race for Missouri governor this Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. We'll see you again at the same time next week. Until then, we're off the record.